You're standing in line at the grocery store, and your card gets declined. Not because you don't have money in your account, you do, but because you forgot about that automatic payment that hit this morning, the one for the credit card you thought you paid off last year. You smile at the cashier, pull out a different card, and tell yourself you'll figure it out later. But here's the thing. Later never comes. Because debt doesn't just sit there waiting for you to deal with it. It grows, it compounds, it multiplies in the dark corners of your financial life until one day you wake up and realize you've been feeding a demon for years, and now it's strong enough to eat your entire future. If that made you uncomfortable, good, because we need to talk about debt in a way that actually helps you kill it, not just manage it or refinance it or pretend it's normal. My name is Rumi, and I spend way too much time thinking about why smart people stay broke. If you're someone who knows you should be doing better with money but can't figure out why you're still stuck in the same patterns year after year, hit subscribe and give this video a thumbs up, because what I'm about to show you is going to completely change how you think about debt. Now look, I know what you're thinking, another video about paying off debt. You've heard it all before. Snowball method, avalanche method, debt consolidation, balance transfers. And yeah, we're going to talk about the mechanics. But here's what most people don't realize. The reason you're still in debt isn't because you don't know the math. It's because you don't understand the psychology. Debt is a predator, and you've been trained to feed it without even noticing. Let me show you what I mean. The average American household with credit card debt carries a balance of around $17,000. $17,000. And get this, according to the Federal Reserve, they're paying an average interest rate of about 22%. Do the math on that for a second. If you're making minimum payments on $17,000 at 22% interest, you're paying roughly $312 a month, and only about $70 of that is actually touching the principal. The rest? Pure interest. You're literally paying someone else $4,000 a year just for the privilege of staying in debt. But here's where it gets interesting. Most people look at that and think, well, I'll just pay it off faster. Except they don't, because the demon of debt doesn't want you to pay it off faster. It wants you comfortable. It wants you making payments forever. And the entire system is designed to make that happen. Think about how you got into debt in the first place. I'm not talking about the emergency that forced you to put something on a card. I'm talking about the hundreds of small decisions that felt completely normal at the time. The streaming services you signed up for because they were only $9.99 a month, the dinner out because you worked hard and deserved it, the new shoes because the old ones were getting worn, the upgrade because everyone else had the new model. None of those things felt like feeding a demon. They felt like living your life. And that's exactly the trap. Because debt doesn't announce itself, it doesn't show up at your door with horns and a pitchfork. It shows up as convenience, as rewards points, as 0% interest for 12 months, as no payments until next year. It shows up as normal, and by the time you realize what's happened, it's already too late. Here's the thing that nobody tells you. The moment you start carrying a balance on a credit card, you change categories. You're no longer a customer, you're a profit center. Credit card companies make their real money from people who carry balances, and they've spent billions of dollars figuring out exactly how to keep you doing it. They know that if they can get you to make minimum payments, you'll stay in debt for decades. They know that if they can convince you that debt is normal, you'll never fight back. A study from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau found that people who pay the minimum payment on their credit cards take an average of 23 years to pay off the balance. 23 years! And that's assuming they never add another dollar to the card, which statistically, they will. So you're not just paying $4,000 a year in interest, you're paying $92,000 over the life of the debt on a $17,000 balance. Let that sink in for a second. Now you might be thinking, okay, Rumi, you've scared me. I get it. Debt is bad. But what am I supposed to do about it? I have bills. I have expenses. I can't just magically make the debt disappear. And you're right. You can't. But here's what you can do. You can stop feeding the demon and start hunting it instead. This is where most debt advice goes wrong. They tell you to cut up your cards and eat ramen for 3 years and put every spare penny towards your debt. And sure, that works if you're a robot, but you're not. You're a human being with a life and responsibilities and the occasional need to do something that doesn't involve suffering. So let me give you a framework that actually works for real people. Step 1. You need to know exactly what you're fighting. And I don't mean having a vague sense that you owe some money. I mean sitting down with every single debt you have and writing it out. Credit cards, car loans, student loans, personal loans, medical debt, that $500 you borrowed from your brother-in-law, all of it. Write down the balance, the interest rate, the minimum payment. Put it all in one place where you can see it. This is going to hurt. I'm not going to lie to you. Seeing the total number is like turning on the lights and seeing how big the demon actually is. But you cannot fight what you refuse to see. And most people stay in debt for years because they're too scared to add up the numbers. They keep the demon in the dark because if they can't see it, they can pretend it's smaller than it is. Once you have your list, organize it by interest rate. Not by balance, not by which one bothers you the most, by interest rate. Because here's what most people don't realize. Debt with a higher interest rate costs you exponentially more money over time. If you have a credit card at 24% and a car loan at 6%, every dollar you put toward that credit card is saving you 4 times as much money as a dollar towards the car loan. This isn't about emotions. This is about math. Now look, I know there's a whole debate about the snowball method versus the avalanche method. The snowball method says pay off the smallest balance first because it gives you quick wins and keeps you motivated. The avalanche method says pay off the highest interest rate first because it saves you the most money. And the debt gurus will argue about this forever, but the truth is, the best method is the one you'll actually stick with. If you're the kind of person who needs quick wins to stay motivated, fine, use the snowball method. But understand that you're paying extra for that motivation. If you can stay disciplined and focus on the math, use the avalanche method and save thousands. Either way, the key is consistency. Step 2. You need to stop digging. This is the part where people mess up. They create a payment plan, they start making progress, and then they use the freed up credit to buy something else. It's like bailing water out of a sinking boat while someone else is drilling new holes in the bottom. You cannot pay off debt while simultaneously creating new debt. It doesn't work. And I know this is hard because the entire economy is designed for you to spend money you don't have. Every app on your phone wants you to buy something. Every website has a payment plan. Every store has a credit card with rewards. But here's what you need to understand. Those rewards are not free. They're paid for by people who carry balances. If you're one of those people, you're not getting rewards, you're getting robbed. So you need to create a barrier between yourself and new debt. For some people, that means literally freezing their credit cards in a block of ice. For others, it means deleting saved payment information from websites. For others, it means switching to cash for certain categories. Find what works for you, but make it harder to spend money you don't have. Step 3, you need to find extra money to throw at the debt. And before you roll your eyes and tell me you're already stretched thin, hear me out. I'm not talking about getting a second job or selling a kidney. I'm talking about finding inefficiencies in your current spending and redirecting that money towards debt. Here's a fact that's going to make you uncomfortable. The average American spends about $350 a month on things they don't even remember buying. Subscriptions they don't use, fees they don't notice, automatic payments for services they forgot they signed up for. That's $4,200 a year. And if you're carrying debt at 20% interest, redirecting that money would pay off $17,000 in about 4 years instead of 23. So go through your bank statements for the last 3 months. Every transaction. I don't care if it's $2 for a coffee. Write it down, categorize it, and then ask yourself honestly, if I could go back in time, would I make that purchase again? Not, was it worth it? Would I actually choose to spend that money? Because here's the thing. Every dollar you spend on something you don't care about is a dollar you're not using to kill the demon. Now you might be thinking, but Rumi, I work hard. I deserve to enjoy my life. I don't want to live like a monk just to pay off some debt. And I hear you, but let me reframe this for you. Right now, you're working hard so you can give your money to credit card companies. Every month, a chunk of your paycheck goes straight to interest payments. That's not enjoying your life, that's renting your life from someone else. When you pay off debt, you're not sacrificing enjoyment, you're buying freedom. You're getting to a place where your paycheck is actually yours, where you can make decisions based on what you want, not based on what you owe. That's not deprivation, that's liberation.
Step 4. You need to increase the gap between what you earn and what you spend. This is where people get defensive because they think I'm about to tell them to stop having fun or give up everything they enjoy. But that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that if your income and expenses are equal, you're stuck. You're on a treadmill, and the only way off the treadmill is to create a gap. That gap can come from earning more, spending less, or both. And before you tell me you can't earn more, let me ask you this. When was the last time you actually tried? Not wished you made more, not complained about your salary, actually tried. Asked for a raise, applied for a better job, learned a skill that pays more, started a side project. Most people stay stuck at the same income level for years because they've convinced themselves they're maxed out, but they've never actually tested that assumption. On the spending side, it's not about cutting everything, it's about being intentional. It's about looking at where your money goes and asking if that's aligned with what you actually value. Because here's what I've noticed. People who are in debt are almost never spending money on the things they claim are most important to them. They say family is everything, but they're working 60 hours a week to pay for stuff they bought to cope with working 60 hours a week. They say they value experiences, but they're drowning in payments for things they don't use. Step 5, you need to change your identity. This is the part that separates people who pay off debt once from people who stay out of debt forever. Because you can follow all the steps, pay off every card, and still end up right back where you started if you don't change how you see yourself. Most people in debt see themselves as people who have a debt problem, but that's not your identity, that's your current situation. Your identity is who you are and how you make decisions. And if you still see yourself as someone who deserves nice things even when you can't afford them, or someone who'll figure it out later, or someone who's bad with money, you're going to recreate the same patterns. You need to become someone who hunts debt. Someone who sees a credit card offer and feels nothing. Someone who can walk through a store without buying something. Someone who makes financial decisions based on where they want to be, not how they feel right now. That's not about willpower, that's about identity. Here's the psychology that changes everything. Every financial decision you make is either feeding the demon or hunting it. Every single one. When you choose to pack lunch instead of eating out, you're hunting the demon. When you negotiate your cable bill, you're hunting the demon. When you drive your paid-off car for another year instead of upgrading, you're hunting the demon. And the more you hunt, the stronger you get, and the weaker it gets. But the opposite is also true. Every time you justify a purchase you can't afford, you're feeding the demon. Every time you make a minimum payment and tell yourself, it's fine, you're feeding the demon. Every time you ignore your debt and hope it'll somehow get better on its own, you're feeding the demon. And the demon is always hungry. So here's what I want you to do. Today, not tomorrow, not when you feel more motivated, today. Pull out your phone right now and look at your credit card balance. Actually look at it. Then calculate how much you're paying in interest every month. Multiply your balance by your interest rate. Divide by 12. That's how much you're giving away every single month for absolutely nothing. Now imagine what you could do with that money if you weren't in debt. Save it, invest it, build something, help someone, travel, retire earlier, whatever matters to you. That's what the demon is eating. That's what you're fighting for.
The truth is, debt is not normal. It's not inevitable. It's not just part of being an adult. Those are lies you've been told by people who profit from you staying in debt. The truth is that you can live without owing anyone anything. You can get to a place where every dollar you earn is yours to do with as you please. But you have to decide that's what you want, and you have to be willing to hunt the demon until it's dead. It's not going to be easy. Some months you're going to feel like you're making no progress. Some months you're going to be tempted to give up and just accept that this is your life now. But here's what I know. Every person who's ever gotten out of debt felt the same way at some point, and they kept going anyway because they decided they were done feeding the demon. You're not broken. You're not bad with money. You're not destined to be in debt forever. You're just someone who hasn't learned to hunt yet. But you can learn, starting today. And 6 months from now, a year from now, 5 years from now, you're going to look back at this moment as the day everything changed, the day you stopped being prey and became a hunter. So go kill your debt. Hunt it down, show it no mercy, because your future is too valuable to let some demon eat it. If this helped you, hit that subscribe button because I make videos like this every week. And if you want to go deeper on building wealth after you're out of debt, check out the video I made on compound interest. It'll blow your mind. Now go make it happen.